RenderForest.com.
So after being gone for several months, I thought, hey, why don't I just finally get my act together, set something up, and finally get some videos recorded. And oh boy, it's been a while. I kind of explained a bit in my Megatronus video that I was moving. That has since happened. And we are currently living with our grandparents at the moment. So that's fun. But finally managed to get an area set up. Look, we have a table. It's not a bin lid. It's an actual table. Oh, it's so nice. It's not that nice, but who cares? It's functional. So we're back in action. Let's talk the last night. It sucked. Majorly sucked. I don't know how they managed to do it, but it was worse than Revenge of the Fallen. I don't think that was humanly possible, but our good friend Michael Bay managed to prove us wrong. But it did bring me some of my favorite movie toys. And one of the toys I liked from the first wave is kind of a bit underrated. Not underrated, it's unappreciated, so to speak. And it's from a character that was hardly in the movie. So today we are going to give this guy the screen time he deserves. So we're going to take a look at Transformers The Last Night Premium Edition, or Premier Edition, whatever the heck it is. Deluxe Class Berserker, or Decepticon Berserker. He is a Chevy Suburban. It's not the most interesting vehicle in the world, to be honest. Well, it isn't that black CIA, FBI sort of creepy van thing. It's got some nice paint apps. Got Decepticon symbols on both sides. He's got the Chevy logo and the white for the headlights. He's got this metallic blue for his windshields all the way around, surprisingly. Taillights, sirens, all that stuff. There are some problems with it, though. It's all panels, as movie toys tend to be, so it's not always cooperative. And you can see these gray sections right here just breaking up the panel lines, and it's really, really obnoxious. Tolerable, but obnoxious. And he can roll. He can roll so good that my camera goes out of focus. But that's kind of it. I mean, I'm not expecting the world out of this thing. It's an SUV after all. He does have the turbo intake. Nice grill patterns. It's got some nice molding on the hubcaps. Those are quite nice, and they are pinned in. They do roll quite well. It's even got the roof racks and everything. So, how does he scale to a modern Transformer? Here's next to Blur. He's kind of small. Height-wise, he looks bigger than Blur, but that, I can guarantee you, is not the case, because this is how they actually scale up. Like, Blur's windshield comes up to the bottom of his windows. He is incredibly small in vehicle mode, but he does have some features that we can use with his accessories. These two spiked club things made of this flexible material so kids don't stab their eyes out. They got these two tabs on the side, or they got a tab on one side for both of them. They can plug into this slot right here above the rear wheel. Getting them in, however, is extremely painful because there's spikes everywhere and they're flexible, meaning they mush in there rather than actually tabbing in, which makes getting them in there real pain in the tailpipe. And then they look like that. Yeah, what are you gonna do with that? Outside of stabbing people on the sidewalk. Brief jump cut. Outside of stabbing people on the sidewalk, what are you gonna do? He's got no combat abilities outside of running over pedestrians. But that's okay. We can plug him in on other spots. We go to the underside. Hello, head. These two notches right there. These sections can plug into. And I'm sorry if you hear the dog. He is freaking out or something. Or everything. Yeah, they can plug in under here. And they don't really impede the rolling that much unless you're on carpet or your bed. So that's about it for vehicle mode. Doesn't do much else. So why don't we get into robot mode where the real fun lies? So I have removed the weapons to make things simpler. And trust me, this guy is not fun to transform. It's very complicated. First thing we're gonna do is we're gonna come to the front bumper, just unpeg that and fold it down and double hinge, about as far as it'll go. And then we're gonna take these whole side panels, unpeg them. They tab in right here and to the what will become the thigh, and push it forward a bit, snap it down. These are just gonna fold up somewhere. We're gonna come to the rear and unpeg these sections, which will become the feet and legs. And you're gonna want to swivel them so that they're facing forward. You can snap your feet forward and then bend these to accommodate. You're gonna fold down the heel spurs, and I would fold down too. I would love to, but my Berserker never came with another heel. Way to go, Hasbro. Great quality control on that. Quality control guy. Your only job is to play with the toy to make sure it works, and you have somehow managed to screw that up. Thank you. Thank you for proving me how stupid you guys are. Anywho, I'm going to come to the windshield and hood. I'm going to fold that onto his back, like that. And then we're going to come to the rear bumper and take the tail lights and unpeg them, and then I'll take the sides along with them. We're going to unfold the whole back, fold up the rear, fold up the hood, the roof, and then the headlights will have two slots that'll peg in the two tabs on his back. And that'll lock it into place, sort of. And then we can take the waist, fold that up, and we should almost be done. Just raise the camera up. Perfect, perfect. We're going to come to the shoulders, fold them down, rotate them around. We can take these spikes, fold them up, take the wrist, fold that forward, and then fold in the wheel well. And repeat the process, rinse and repeat. Blah, blah, blah. And I like to fold the head down a bit. And there, in the horrible, horrible lighting, is Berserker. I'll be right back. Yeah, you can kind of tell that not having a heel spur thing is really doing some detriment to him. Your Berserker probably will come with 2 heel spurs. Mine did not. So just be wary and keep your receipt on hand. It'll be worth it. So here we have Berserker. And he may look familiar to you, and for good reason. If you've seen Dark of the Moon, you saw the Dreads. He is based off the Dreads from Dark of the Moon. Granted, I think he is much more solid than the Dread designs from Dark of the Moon, toy-wise. Film-wise, there's a different story. He was only in last night for, and I'm not even joking, he was only in it for a literal 5 seconds. Poor Berserker. So, how does he scale? Here's a blur, and even though he's digital grade, he still towers over blur. Well, he's about the same size, sort of, but, oh man, he's massive. Mass-wise, he just spreads out, and he still manages to be at the head spike, taller than Blur. The dude at the head is literally taller than Blur. Big. And his legs are bent. Massive. So, speaking of that head, let's take a look at it. Focus. Focus. There we go. He's got 8 eyes, so very nasty looking jaw. And apparently dreadlocks made of bullets. And he's got this massive head spike and a lot of gunmetal and brown and black. It's really rather intimidating. He's also got this big X on his chest. Looks like it has been drawn in crayon. It might also be human blood, but we're not confirmed. We're not confirmed. Just watch out. He's also got this red gradient on his arms and some orange claws, which is a bit weird, but let's just say that he can superheat his hand. And he's got some red in the kneecaps. And some gunmetal on his Metal Man hooves. So, what can he do? He still has his hooks. Or, not hooks. Spiky bits. And their official storage method is to take those tabs, take the little hook, and just sit them on his back. That's stupid. They don't even peg on properly. Look at that. I'm just gonna take this, turn it upside down. There goes your legitimate storage method. But he doesn't look like a guy who would stay unarmed. So let's take it a bit further. Stick it in his hands. Give him some big old clubs. Bash people's skulls in. Yeah, there we go. Perfect. As impractical as these weapons look, they do look cool. So, how does he pose? Well, he's got a ball joint in the head, but it's like that weird bisque head where it's kind of just sticking straight into it. But he does have a hinge that can allow you to raise it up and down to get more movement out of it. Not much, but it works. He's got ball joints in the shoulders, and these sections are on ball joints, so they can get out of the way quite easily. It's got a bicep swivel, 90-degree elbow. The wrist can bend downward a bit, depending on how close you have the fender. No waist due to transformation. It's got a ball joint in the hip, which does have a decent range, but the wheel can get in the way in some poses. It's got a thigh swivel. His knee technically bends 90 degrees. It just looks not as far thanks to the curve that this section has. And you may think this is a joint because it can move. It's not. It locks in place. It's a friction lock, but it still locks. It's not meant to be posed around like a joint or anything. So, he can get into a fair amount of decent poses, despite his design oddities, like his massive dreadlocks. or his weird disintegrated leg things, or his not having a heel spur. God dang it, Hasbro. But he's alright. Oh, another thing to worry about, these side panels on his arms, they tend to come off when you're least expecting it. Of course, now when I'm actually trying to get it out of his arm, it decides to stay in. I think it's making a fool out of me. But yeah, these aren't actually glued in or riveted in. They just tab in. Apparently, it's very sturdy. It may look that way. But when you actually get the toy, be wary. It does have a tendency to just, like, fall apart when you're not looking. So, would I recommend him? Yes. Would I recommend paying 20 bucks for him? No. He is not worth 20 bucks. None of the deluxes are worth 20 bucks. But if you find him for, like, 15 or something, I would get him. He's fun. His transformation's a bit finicky, but his robot mode, awesome looking. His vehicle mode, despite my complaints about the panels, once you get over that, it's actually pretty solid. And I've rarely found the vehicle mode, blowing up on me when I squeeze it the wrong way. It does happen if you put your mind to it and actually try to actually get it to blow up, but it will take a lot more than you think. So this is Sniper 53, taking a look at last night Berserker. And for the end of the video, I have an idea. Go to the comments section and tell me a figure that you want to review from any era. I'll tell you if I have it or not, and if I have it, I may review it. It may not be immediate, but I listen. So this is Sniper 53, signing off. I will hopefully be back, so see you in 12 years.